When I asked Nicholas, one of our community managers, to describe this build to me, he said, "It just walks around and shits out spells." Now I've seen it in action, I couldn't put it any better myself. Welcome to Build of the Week. I'm Eben from Grinding Gear Games. This week we're looking at Akshay's Ward Loop Scion, which uses a complex cast when damage taken setup to create some frankly disrespectful spell spam. I hope you like maths. Let's start with Ward. It's a form of defense granted by expedition items. When we get hit, damage will be taken from our ward before our life or energy shield, and the ward will break. After breaking, our ward will be restored after a delay. Olroth's Resolve is a unique flask that completely transforms this mechanic. After you take a swig, your ward will be greatly reduced, but it won't break during the entire flask effect. What's important is that the damage you take is still trapped, even if it doesn't overcome the ward. Thus, you can intentionally damage yourself to trigger cast when damage taken setups without actually losing life or energy shield, as long as each hit is less than your ward. This build uses Forbidden Rite and Summon Skeletons, both linked with cast when damage taken, combined with Heartbound Loop to cause recursion of self-inflicted damage forever. This damage triggers our other gem setups, which also use the cast when damage taken gem, to cast a myriad of spells which we spew forth relentlessly. In their guide, Akshay has broken down exactly how the maths of this loop works. Hold on to your hats because we're going in. Our main damage link uses a level 21 Divergent Cast When Damage Taken gem, which triggers supported spells when you take a total of 2,935 damage. We're dealing damage to ourselves using Heartbound Loop's 350 physical damage taken on minion death mod, and Forbidden Rites take 40% of maximum life and 25% of maximum energy shield as chaos damage effect. We summon 3 skeletons which have a duration of 0.2 seconds thanks to 2 Dust Jewels, anomalous minion speed, and the window of opportunity passives. When these skeletons expire, they'll each deal 420 damage to us thanks to Heartbound Loop, boosted by Noxious Catalysts, and we can safely tank this damage without unbreakable ward. This comes to 1,260 out of the 2,935 damage we need. We have 2,923 life, 64 energy shield, and minus 60% chaos res, so when we trigger Forbidden Rite, we take 1,896 damage. So we are now taking a total of 3,156 damage, triggering our big boy damage spells. This is more damage in a single hit than our Olroth's affected ward, so we take a bit of damage to our life. Skill gems supported by cast when damage taken have a cooldown of 250 milliseconds before they contract damage and cast again, and we reduce this with a 10% increased cooldown recovery rate Beltcraft so we can cast spells every 0.23 seconds. Got all that? All you really have to know is that we're damaging ourselves forever to trigger spells. But there's a few more important things about our self-damage loop. One is that we have to use the Brutal Restraint Timeless Jewel to grab the Traitor. This keystone provides flask charges every second, but spread out among our flasks. When combined with flask investment on our tree, and as long as we don't have too many flasks equipped, we can keep our all-important ward flask, Olroth's Resolve, up permanently. Also, we can kickstart our cast when damage taken loop by swapping weapons. Up our sleeve we have 2 wands crafted with a mod that summons spectral spirits when equipped. Remember, we're using Heartbound Loop that damages us when a minion dies, so when we swap our weapons back and forth, the spectral spirits die from being unequipped, and their death triggers Heartbound Loop and damages us. Then the maths kicks in, and the damage train has left the platform. So, what are our actual damage spells? Akshay suggests using 2 main cold damage setups, using spells like Ice Spear and Creeping Frost, with cast when damage taken and the appropriate supports for extra damage. An important note is that the spells in our staff are supported by Arcane Surge and Bone Chill, which boost the damage of both spells' setups. The weapon of choice here is Annihilating Light, for that huge triple damage elemental spell boost. We're supplementing this with as many other damage mechanics as we can sneak in. Righteous Fire, Sigil of Power, Sniper's Mark, linked to cast when damage taken, so it's auto-marking targets as we walk. We won't go into all of these, but one cool example is our power charges. We get these by crafting a lightning damage implicit on our helmet, then picking up a cluster jewel with the Stormstrider mod, 10% chance to gain a power charge when you shock a chilled enemy. Since our primary spells are chilling everything, and we can shock things sometimes with the added lightning damage, we can trigger the mod often enough to have reliable power charge generation. Some of the defenses on this build are highly unusual. We can't use any armor, physical damage reduction, or chaos resist because that would brick our cast when damage taken loop. Instead, we have to get creative. We've got a small life pool, only around 3k life, but thanks to our Olroth's Resolve Flask, we don't lose any life from hits smaller than our 1600 Unbreakable Ward. We also supplement our small life pool by using Mind Over Matter to direct some of the life we do actually lose to our mana. To make the most of our Unbreakable Ward, Akshay notes that we should invest in mods and passives which recoup life and mana upon taking damage. These mods are very effective because we're taking a lot of damage that is ignored by our ward, essentially letting us recoup life and mana for free. Additionally, since we have permanent flask uptime, it makes sense to use some strong defensive flasks, making whatever the best choice is for our setup. We're also reducing the shock effect on us by 95%, thanks to the Soul of Garukan on the Pantheon and an Eater of Worlds implicit mod. This shock reduction is essential because without it, our self-damage setup would just insta-give us every time we get shocked. Akshay must be congratulated for maintaining such a thorough build guide, and for the ongoing forum assistance they've been providing to help others make it work. This build is complex enough that missing just one element can brick the entire thing. Thanks to Akshay for their contribution. Be sure to check out the link below for their detailed guide. If you'd like to see your build featured, please post it on the class forums and pathofexile.com. Here's all the microtransactions we used in this video. See you next time!